This is the XPS 13 Plus, a laptop that Dell spent heaps of time engineering so that it had the most power in a 13-inch frame. But what if you don't need that power and want just like a normal laptop? Well, Dell's got you covered there too. Today we have the XPS 13 and the XPS 13 2-in-1. I'm kind of excited because they look like, well, they look like laptops. Oh, that's pretty. This is a really fancy little color. I normally think of Dell as just, well, you know, silver. This one's like a purple. Does it match my hat? So that's the XPS 13, the normal one. Oh dear. One of the things that's included in here is a USB-C to 3.5mm headphone jack adapter. Oh my God, Dell. I thought when they were doing the XPS 13 as like a normal laptop, they'd include normal laptop things like headphone jack. Idiots! God damn it. Well, one good thing is that their little DAC, despite looking pretty small, is actually decent. You can run some proper over-ear headphones with them. It sounds pretty good. You know, it also sounds good though, having a 3.5mm headphone jack, Dell. Anyway, for the charger, we get, what is this here? A little small boy, 45 watts. This thing right here, not super powerful, doesn't really need to be. Moving on, here we have the XPS 13 2-in-1, which is more like a 2, because it's in 2 pieces now. Yeah, this right here, oh my God, look at the size of that camera. So if you couldn't tell, this is Dell's take on the Surface Pro, and it has a massive camera on the back. That's hilarious. I am actually concerned about that. Like, look at how much that sticks up, Andy. Do they have anything in here to help protect that? Oh, once again, USB to headphone adapter is there. God damn it. Dell, please. And once again, we have a 45 watt adapter. Here we have our PC and our dock. Oh, it's a strong magnet. And then this comes in here like that, I'm guessing. Oh, okay. Oh, so there must be a series of magnets in the back right here, so you can adjust how much you want it to go. Like, you see how it kind of snaps to different locations there? And also included is a pen. Ah, that's where it's supposed to go, right there. I'm a bit confused about how this pen gets charged. Now, Andy was just wondering if it charges on the side. Maybe.
Yes.
Yes? Oh, it charges right there? Dang, okay, that's pretty well integrated, I do have to say.
Charge lasts for 50 days and charges in under 2 hours.
The charge on this lasts for 50 days? Damn, full charge in 2 hours. That is really quite good. All right, let's have a look at the XPS 13 right here. Compared to the Plus, it is very similar size-wise, just like a couple millimeters thinner at the back. The I/O is disappointing. You get Thunderbolt and Thunderbolt. Both of those do your charging, which they have to because there's literally nothing else that you can plug into it. And I do have to say that I really like that they have Thunderbolts on both sides, so you can choose where you want to put your charger. Opening it up, color is really nice on this thing. Look at this, guys. They have space between their keycaps. On the Plus, there is none. And this is not as bad as you would expect. It's not like it's just like a piece of glass. They have a very little bit of a dish, which does, you know, you can get used to it pretty fast, but at the same time, until you're used to it, this is a pretty annoying keyboard to use. This one right here, I imagine, right out of the gate, you're gonna be zooming on it. Before we continue on this too much, let's have a look at the I/O on the 2-in-1. We have 2 Thunderbolts. That's it. Not even charger on the other side either. Just the 2 Thunderbolts. I'm disappointed. That's gonna be really annoying. On the 2-in-1 though, there is no spacing between the keys. This is very, very similar to the keyboard that we have on the XPS 13 Plus. Oh, shut up, truck. I'm trying to segue to our sponsor, LYTE Gaming. Thanks to LYTE Gaming for sponsoring this video. LYTE offers both pre-configured and custom PCs, build kits, and custom accessories. They focus on being 100% transparent with their prices, such as their builds where they show prices for each part and their nominal $100 build fee. On top of that, they offer build kits where pre-selected parts are delivered to you for building, taking away the stress of tracking down each individual part. Every LYTE PC comes with a 1-year warranty and a 30-day free return period, alongside a quick replacement service in case you need it, with full shipping covered. Check out LYTE at lytetechnology.com or in the link in the video description. Okay, it's pretty clear that the engineering team has spent most of their time on the 2-in-1 here, so let's just leave that for a second, quickly run over the 13, and then we can get to the real party piece here. So this right here is a 1920 by 1200p screen, so that's 16 by 10, and I do have to say it looks really quite good. It is obviously not as good as the one on the 13 Plus. This guy right here has a 4K OLED display, which is just, it is an exceptional display, and it also means you get 6 hours of battery life. So you don't buy that one. Instead, you go with a panel that's on the 13 right here because, well, you just can't accept 6 hours of battery life. If you have large hands, this is not really gonna be great for you. This is a problem with pretty much all 13-inch laptops, but as you can see here, my hand is just falling off of the back edge. One thing that's fortunate is that it feels like there's a bit more of a chamfer here. On the XPS 13 Plus, it was really sharp. Like you can see how it's sort of this diamond cut edge here, and I ended up just taking a little cut off of this with our deburring wheel. Made it way more comfortable. Highly recommend doing that. But it's something that you don't need to do on your brand new XPS 13. Also, this is really light. How much does this thing weigh? 2.5 pounds. That is very light. Compared to the Plus, about 0.25 grams, so like 1/4 of a pound. 2.9 pounds. So right in between the two. I'm impressed. This feels heavier. Wait, no, I'm just dumb. Okay, little bit heavier still, which makes sense. This is a very slightly larger laptop. All right, let's see how this thing handles. The keyboard on the XPS 13 is fantastic. It's not surprising. Dell has just always done a really good job with their keyboards, particularly on the XPS line. The biggest difference between the 13 and the 13 Plus though is definitely the power. In this 13 right here, we have an Intel i5-1230U. You can get that as an i7, but either way, that's 2 performance cores, 8 efficiency cores. Now this is pretty good for your battery life. That helps us get up to that 12 hours or so that they said. But it's not great if you wanna do a whole lot of very intense stuff. The 13 Plus has just an exceptional amount of power for how big it is. Like in our video, it just absolutely smashes the MacBook 13-inch, like destroys it. The 13 non-Plus though does not have that kind of horsepower. That said, it still has 10 cores. They fit 10 cores into this thing. Aside from that, we get 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it is, 5,200 mega transfers per second, which means it's soldered down. SODIMM cannot currently get that fast. Hopefully Dell brings CAM into things like this, but then again, this is probably too thin for a CAM module even. Here is what seems like the star of the show though. In the past, they had a much more traditional, the screen goes all the way around, but now you get even more degrees of freedom. It can go wherever you want. You can lose this and you still have a whole laptop right here. Well, you have a tablet. The first thing I'm really curious about is, can I use it as a laptop? Nope, don't do that. So this is a tabletop, not a laptop. That said, on the table, this thing feels really good. So I don't know if you can tell, but this is just a slab of glass and aluminum, and it is incredibly stiff. I don't want to harm it by bending it too much. The keyboard is also incredibly stiff, especially for how thin it is. Like, okay, I can, when you try and twist it, you can twist it. This keyboard is fantastic, especially given it's just here, like a little floppy thing. Also, big old trackpad here. It's like actually a decent size, probably bigger than the normal 13. It is, look at that. So this display is 2880 by 1920. That is such a strange resolution. But at the same time, for this device, I think it is a really good resolution because they could have just slapped a 4K panel on this and been like, haha, we have the most pixels. And then it would have been dead in 5 hours or whatever. Instead, it's able to get, what is it, Jake? Doesn't say, oh, that's not a good sign. What's the size? 49.5 watt hours. So that puts us just above like the Surface laptop, and this is a slightly lower resolution display. Or probably land in what, like 9 hours of battery life on this, something like that? The reason you get a 2-in-1 like this is so that you can use it as kind of a note-taking tool. These are the sort of things where, if you are a student particularly, this device can get you through nearly anything. This stylus and screen combo, excellent. I absolutely love it. I am not an artist, so I can't really evaluate the stylus against a bunch of other things. My main criteria is just, if I start writing, does my writing sort of turn out like my writing looks? It's not perfect. Like you can see sort of like can you see this question mark right here? It's kind of a little bit strange. That was not me that did that. That was just kind of the pen spazzing out for a second. But at the same time, this all just looks basically like my writing, which is how I evaluate tablets like this. Oh, these look like they do support HDR. What are these, 400 nit peak brightness? 500, damn. Okay, that's actually pretty good. This is probably gonna look really good for your Netflix and stuff. All right, let's see how these cameras do. Oh wow, this is already immediately super clear what the winner is. The 13 2-in-1, the camera absolutely blows away the other two. Now, in fairness too, this is the XPS 13. This is a very challenging scene. If we just move this a little bit, more like here, yeah, it's still doing a pretty bad job. It's okay enough, but as you can see, like if you have something like a light behind you, it completely blows it out. Compare that to the 2-in-1 right here. This is just so much sharper and just so much more better in every single way. Like look at this, got the light right there. It still is exposing for my face properly. Right here, that's kind of weird, but at the same time, this is a very challenging scene for just a stupid little webcam. And I look sharp. Like you can actually see like beard hairs. My toque looks like a toque instead of just like a blob of purple. Very, very good job on this webcam, Dell. That's one of the best that I've ever seen. 13 Plus is somewhere in the middle, I think. The 2-in-1 has its party trick. How do I turn this around here? There we have Belle, we have Andy. I'm gonna just have to turn this around and you'll have to compare it to the other ones, but I'm fairly certain that this is going to be much better than all the other webcams. Here we go, even compared to the MacBook, not that the MacBook has a particularly good webcam, but the XPS 13 2-in-1 absolutely destroys it. One thing I'm concerned Dell hasn't been able to pull off in this thing though, is the speakers. Dell's speakers lately have been very good, but on devices this small, can they still do it? So on the 2-in-1, first impressions, not very loud. Oh yeah. Speakers are way better on this guy right here. That's impressive. Going back to 2-in-1. Not as good, by a lot. All right, so we can very safely say the 2-in-1 speakers are not very good, but the 13 is moving on to the next round. Okay, so the 13 Plus is clearer, that's for sure. Maybe not as loud though. Wow. Huh. I was not expecting that, but the XPS 13 has better speakers than the 13 Plus. So here we once again have the XPS 13 compared to the MacBook Pro 14-inch. Okay, yeah. So the MacBook's way better. All of that said, for a 13-inch device, the speakers on this thing blew me away. They're very clear. There's actual bass, like there's notes below like 100 hertz probably. Good job, Dell. Is there anything we've missed? Valheim. Do you know what's my absolute favorite thing? If you want a game on this, mouse goes in here, power goes in here. Where do your headphones go? You don't. You don't have it. God damn it, Dell. Given we just had 20 FPS in the menu, things aren't looking good. As low as it can get, 1366 by 768p. Oh, okay, here we go. 50 FPS, whole 50 FPSs. So this isn't amazing, but at the same time, it's good enough if your kid wants to play Minecraft on it. They can get away with it. The settings are gonna be pretty low, but at the same time, it'll do it, which is a lot more than you can say about a device that's this thin from, what, a year, 2 years ago? All right, let's quickly take this thing apart. Oh my God, look at the size of the battery in this thing. I've been getting mad at some companies lately for not taking advantage of the space in their device. You cannot say about that with Dell here. Oh, boo. SSD, not upgradable. You can see it right here. That thing is soldered the frick down, which means that you not only have to choose how much RAM you're getting with this device, but also how much storage you're getting when you buy it. Which brings us to How much is it? It starts at $850, and as spec'd, it's $1,150. This one's tough though, simply because headphone jack, there's no headphone jack. And there's also the really large problem that that's very similar to what? M1 Air prices, M2 Air? Oh my God, never mind. Okay, so the XPS 13, fantastic laptop. I did not realize that the M2 Air with 16 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gig SSD is $1,600. That's stupid. This is still a bit of a tough device to recommend simply because it's getting up there in price, but at the same time, it's really light. The build quality is exceptional, especially for a device like this. What else? Trackpad's good, screen's great, keyboard, fantastic. This is a really good little laptop. Oh, and it's purple. I really like the purple. What I feel like is really easy to recommend though is the XPS 13 2-in-1. The 3x2 display, for one, just makes this so nice. It also has maybe the best webcam we've ever seen in a laptop. That was exceptional, blew me away. The XPS 13 2-in-1 starts at $1,150 if you want the stylus and folio, which I would say is a requirement. How does that compare to the Surface Pro 9? Wow, I have never been able to recommend something easier over a competitor than this. So a Surface Pro 9 with the config that you want, which requires an i7 even though you want an i5, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gig SSD with the folio and the pen comes to $2,100. Oh my God, Microsoft, you are out to lunch. So the XPS 13 2-in-1, I actually really like this. If you're a student and you want to take notes, this is a great device. $1,300 can be a bit steep, but at the same time for that, you're getting the i5, 10 cores. You're also getting the pen, the folio, those are a requirement. Love it. This thing lasts for 50 hours. That's pretty cool.
No, up to 50 days.
50 days. Anyway, if you guys like this video, hit like, get subscribed, and just have a fantastic all day.